In today's video, we are going to talk about the atmosphere and environment. According to the CI syllabus, this particular chapter comprises of two parts. They talk about the air and they talk about the water. So in this video, we are going to talk about the air, its composition, and we are going to talk about the air pollution, the sources of air pollution, and the effect of that air pollution. So first of all, let's talk about the composition of air. So this is how these are the components of which air is composed of. Nitrogen is it exists 78% in the air, oxygen is 20.9. There are other gases which are approximately 0.17%. We have argon and carbon dioxide as 0.03%, right? Now, apart from these components of the air, whatever exists in the air, whatever becomes a part of an air, that is actually known as pollutants. So we have plenty of pollutants which are present in the air, and here is a list of all those pollutants, their sources and their effects. Now, the first pollutant which you talk about is basically your carbon monoxide, right? Carbon monoxide is the first pollutant. And how do we get it? We will be talking about the sources and we'll be talking about their effect or the impact, right? And then we'll be talking about the remedies, the effect, and how are we going to remove those effects in the term of remedies or solutions. Now, first of all, the first pollutant is basically a carbon monoxide. How do we get the carbon monoxide? What is the source? That is the incomplete combustion of carbon, incomplete combustion of carbon-containing substances. Basically, we can say the fuel. So, if the fuel undergoes combustion and there is not enough supply of oxygen, then we can get the carbon monoxide. Now, what are the effect of carbon monoxide in the air on human beings or on living organism? Is that the carbon monoxide is a toxic gas. It's a toxic gas. Now, what do we mean by toxic? Toxic means that when carbon monoxide, if somebody breathes in, so that actually combines with the hemoglobin for a certain time period. It combined with the hemoglobin, and because it combined with the hemoglobin, it prevents the transportation of oxygen in blood, and because of that, the person become breathless and eventually die due to suffocation. So that's the reason that carbon monoxide is very harmful and it acts as a pollutant. Number two, we have sulfur dioxide. Now, how do we get the sulfur dioxide? There are fossils which contain the sulfur as a content. So when we burn those fossils, we get sulfur dioxide on burning of those fossil fuels, right? So we get the combustion, we get it by from the emission of the vehicles, from the power stations and factories. And the other source of sulfur dioxide is also the volcanic eruption. So they often ask you the sources. Now the impact is we have the sulfur dioxide gas. The sulfur dioxide gas is basically acidic in nature. Now, being acidic in nature, it can react with the water, and when it reacts with the water, it will form the acid rain, right? So we'll be talking about the impact of acid rain in the next video. Apart from that, sulfur dioxide also causes irritation to the eyes, lungs, and it leads to the breathing difficulties. So it's being acidic. Then comes the next one, that's oxide of nitrogen. So we have the third pollutant, that's oxide. Now, how do we get it? We know that nitrogen is present in air. It's approximately 78% exist in the air. Now, nitrogen has got a triple bond, right? Which is not difficult, which is not easy to break down. And because of this triple bond, nitrogen act as an inert gas. But what happens, this particular bond breaks down either during the lightning process, during the thunderstorm and stuff, or in the car engines when there is a high energy being produced. At that time, this particular bond, it breaks down. When it breaks down, then this nitrogen turns into a nascent nitrogen, and it combines with the atmospheric oxygen to form various oxides of nitrogen. Now, these oxides of nitrogen are again, they're acidic in nature, and the effect they have is that they lead to acid rain, right? They leads to acid rain. And apart from that, okay, they leads to acid rain, and we'll talk about the remedies, how to resolve, how to convert, how to stop the emission of these oxides of nitrogen, so that uska impact जो है atmosphere पे ना हो. So we'll be talking about the remedies later. Then comes the fourth pollutant, that's your unburnt hydrocarbon. So unburnt hydrocarbons are we get it from the vehicle's exhaust fumes or from the chemical plants, where the hydrocarbon which are actually acting as a fuel, they are not burnt properly. So when they are not burnt properly, so they are emitted out in the form of exhaust fumes. Now these unburned hydrocarbon, what is the effect? That they leads to cancer, and when they react with the nitrogen oxides to form ozone back again. So these are the effects. Now, the fifth pollutant is basically methane gas, and methane gas is the one which is a greenhouse gas that we have already studied, is a greenhouse gas. So this, where do we get the methane gas? What is the source? We get it from the decay of vegetation matter, plant and animal matter. And as I told you that like carbon dioxide, this is also greenhouse gas, which can cause global warming. So we'll see to it how we can reduce the emission of methane gas. Then the sixth pollutant is ozone. That's O3. That's an allotrope of an oxygen. And its sources that the reaction of nitrogen oxide and unburnt hydrocarbon in the presence of sunlight, they liberate ozone gas. That's a source. And ozone gas forms the photochemical smoke. It irritates the eyes at the lowest strata close to the Earth's surface. It causes the breathing difficulties. It leads to this disease like asthma. It damages crops, etc. And but at the higher level in the atmosphere, it acts as a preventive layer. It acts as a sunscreen, and do not let the ultraviolet rays penetrate in. And these ultraviolet rays, they can lead to different type of cancers. They can lead to genetic mutation, crop mutation, etc. So ozone at the upper atmosphere, upper stratosphere, it is a preventive layer, and we definitely need it, right? But at the lower surface close to us, it acts as a pollutant. As we have studied that a lot of air pollutant, they are acidic in nature. Like for example, we have sulfur dioxide, we have oxides of nitrogen, right? They are basically acidic in nature. So they leads to acid rain. So now let's talk about the causes of acid rain. Causes we already know, these are the pollutants which are leading to the acid rain, right? So we have already discussed. Now let's talk about the effect of the acid rain and what are the possible preventive measures, because this is what they expect us to know, that the effects and the remedies. So this is what we will be studying now of the acid rain, the effect of the acid rain and how we can reduce the impact. What are the remedies of that? Okay, let's proceed. When we talk about the effects, we can talk about the environmental impact of the acid rain. We can talk about the human impact and the physical impact. So when you talk about the environmental impact of the acid rain, we can say that because of the acid rain, the plants, they die due to the acidity. They leads to the acidic soil. And there are certain crops which cannot grow on the acidic soil. So what do we need to do is that we have to neutralize that soil. Not only the soil, but they also changes the pH of the water bodies. Now, because the water bodies pH changes, so that can make the fish very sensitive to that particular pH, and that's going to affect the population of the fishes or the marine life, right? So these are the environmental effects of the acid rain. So they can change the pH of the soil, they can change the pH of the water, and because of that, the plants and the marine life, they both can suffer due to the change in the pH. Now the human impact. So the acid rain, it can lead to, because it contains the sulfurous acid and the nitrous acid, right? Not the sulfuric, but the sulfurous acid and the nitrous acid, which can lead to respiratory diseases like asthma and bronchitis, etc. Now comes the physical impact. The physical impact, because of the acid rain, it's acidic in nature, so it can corrode certain structures which are made up of either limestone or the marble, or the building or sculptures which are made up of limestone and marble. They can corrode them. So this is how it can impact the physical in the physical form. So now we move on to the possible preventive measures to reduce the acid rain. This is something very, very important. These are the remedies. So in order to lower down the impact or slow down the impact of the acid rain, these are the three remedies which we can follow, which we can reduce the impact of the acid rain. Number one, uh, if by liming the soil, if we lime the soil, we can increase its pH. Its pH can be increased. What is lime? Lime is basically your calcium oxide or calcium हाइड्रोक्साइड, ठीक है. इससे अगर आप स्प्रे करते हैं तो आपकी जो सॉइल का जो पीएच जो है एसिडिक रेन की वजह से जो लोअर डाउन हुआ है, तो पीएच जो होगा वो आपका नॉर्मलाइज हो जाएगा. So it says that liming is one of the most cost-effective method of slowing the effect of acidification, restoring acid water, and enhancing the abundance and diversity of the aquatic life. Not only the water bodies, but also changing the pH of the soil. So for that, the liming is a very important remedy or preventive measure. The second remedy or the second method to reduce the impact of the acid rain is the using the car catalytic converter. What happens in the car catalytic converter? The harmful gases like oxides of nitrogen and the carbon monoxide, they enter the car catalytic converter, and there they combine together. They react together to give us less harmful gases. So in the car catalytic converter, over the catalyst can be platinum or rhodium. Now, in the presence of these catalysts, these reactions take place. Your acidic gas and the carbon monoxide, which is again another toxic gas, they both combine together to give you less harmful gases like nitrogen, which is already present as 78% in your air, and the carbon dioxide gas. Yes, this is a harmful gas, but immediate इसका impact नहीं होता. ये greenhouse gas है, which leads to global warming. So these are considered as a less harmful gases. ठीक है? So nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide in the car catalytic converter, these harmful gases, they converts into nitrogen and carbon dioxide, and they're liberated in this form. Or the unburnt hydrocarbon, it combines with the oxygen in the car catalytic converter, and again converted back into a less harmful combination of gases, that's carbon dioxide and steam. Now, flue gas desulphurization is your third remedial method, and this is something very important. Industries से जहाँ से आपकी acidic gases liberate out होती हैं, जैसे कि for example you have oxides of nitrogen, you have sulfur dioxide and stuff. So because वहाँ पर fuel में sulfur content होते हैं, तो that's liberated in the form of sulfur dioxide. तो ये gases जो हैं वो chimneys of the factories की जो chimneys हैं वहीं पर ये gases absorb हो जाती हैं, treat हो जाती हैं before they are liberated out. So let's see how the flue gas desulphurization work. So basically, I'll show you the diagram here. फ्लू गैस डिसल्फ्राइजेशन किट एक होता है जिसको हम अटैच कर देते हैं टू द चिमनीज ऑफ द इंडस्ट्रीज ऑफ द फैक्ट्री. और इस पर्टिकुलर किट के अंदर आपके पास कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट होता है जिसको आप एट अ हाई टेम्परेचर डिकम्पोज करते हैं टू कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. ये कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड जो फॉर्म होता है, ये कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड आपके डिफरेंट एसिडिक ऑक्साइड्स के साथ कंबाइन करके उनको सॉल्ट फॉर्म कर देता है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड gas is being liberated because of the burning of the sulfur which is a part of the fossil fuel, तो आपके पास सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड गैस आ रही है एज एन एसिडिक गैस. अब इस पर्टिकुलर किट के अंदर यू हैव अ कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट सस्पेंशन जो कि एट अ हाई टेम्परेचर इट्स ब्रेक डाउन इनटू कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. The presence of calcium oxide, which is basic in nature, it will be combining with any acidic gas which is being liberated through the chimney, which is going to escape through the chimney. ये आपकी सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड भी हो सकती है, ये आपकी नाइट्रोजन डाइऑक्साइड भी हो सकती है, नाइट्रोजन मोनोऑक्साइड भी हो सकती है, एनी गैस. और उसके साथ ये कंबाइन करके ये एसिड बेस्ड रिएक्शन होता है, ये न्यूट्रलाइजेशन रिएक्शन होता है. और यहाँ पर क्या होता है, ये दोनों कंबाइन करके calcium oxide being basic, it will be reacting with acidic gases and it will be forming the corresponding salt. ये आपको कैल्शियम सल्फाइड दे सकता है, कैल्शियम नाइट्राइड दे सकता है, और फिर ये सल्फाइड, कैल्शियम सल्फाइड, कैल्शियम नाइट्राइड फर्दर ऑक्सीजन के साथ कंबाइन करके कैल्शियम सल्फेट दे देते हैं. So this is how we are able to trap the acidic gases from releasing out. And जब आपकी acidic gases release out नहीं होंगी तो definitely आप अपने acid rain को भी control कर सकते हैं जिसके negative impact होते हैं. So here's one past paper question. Let's attempt it because it's related to the topic. Now, coal contains a small amount of sulfur, and explain how the burning of the coal results in the formation of acid rain. So what happens here, the sulfur, when the coal burns, the sulfur present in it, it's going to burn in the presence of oxygen, forming sulfur dioxide. Now, sulfur dioxide is an acidic gas when it dissolves in water. When it dissolves in water, it forms acid, it forms acidic rain, right? So that is what you'll be writing down. One of the effect of the acid rain. To one of the effect, you can write down the environmental effect can leads to the lower down the pH of the soil or the water bodies, hence affect the plant or the marine life. Or human impact आप explain कर सकते हैं. जो human impact ये है कि it can leads to bronchitis or asthma or something of that, or skin diseases and allergies. या physical impact लिख सकते हैं कि it can leads to the corrosion of the monuments which are basically made up of metals or which are made up of limestone, right? The oxides of nitrogen also contribute to the acid rain. They can be formed naturally in the atmosphere from nitrogen and oxygen. What conditions are needed to allow the nitrogen and oxygen to combine? You require higher temperature to break down the triple bond between the nitrogen, right? Between the two nitrogen atom or within the nitrogen molecule. ये आपका जो triple bond है, this should break, and this only breaks either during the lightning and thunderstorm because high energy is needed, or in the car engines where the high energy is being liberated. So this is it. This is one question. There's another question from the past papers. It's from October, November 13. It says that nitrogen and oxygen are present in the air. What is the percentage composition by volume of each of these gases in the dry air? We have approximately 78% of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen. So we have to remember the percentage composition of nitrogen, oxygen, of carbon dioxide, specifically these three gases. Carbon dioxide is also 0.03%, I think. What is the method used to separate these gases from each other? That is, they are separated on the basis of the difference in the boiling point. So the method is basically a fractional distillation, right? The method is fractional distillation. Now, in the petrol engine, nitrogen and oxygen combines to form oxides of nitrogen, such as this. State one harmful effect of that nitrogen dioxide has on the environment. It leads to acid rain. And further, you can write down the effect of the acid rain, whatever you want, physical, environmental, or the human effect. Then one of the hydrocarbon in the petrol is octane, C8H18. In the petrol engine, some of the octane reacts to form carbon monoxide and water. Construct an equation for this reaction. So it's incomplete combustion, C8H18 combines with oxygen, because incomplete combustion gives you carbon monoxide and it gives you water. So we need to have a balanced equation for this. So let's balance it out. So we have C8, so let's put 8 over here, and we have 18 here, so let's put 9 here. Now after balancing carbon and hydrogen, let's balance the oxygen. So we have 8 plus 9 makes it 17. 17 ka half ho gaya. 8.5, right? 17 ka half hai 8.5. So either you can leave it in decimal, or you can, what you can do the next is you can multiply the whole equation by 2. We'll get C2C8 H18 plus 17O2 is going to give me 16 carbon monoxide, plus is going to give me 18 water. Both the ways they will be accepting the equations. Now, the catalytic converter used to remove carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide from the exhaust gas of petrol engine. The catalyst containing rhodium and platinum or a palladium is present in the catalyst. What is the function of the catalyst? Catalyst का function क्या होता है? It speeds up the rate of reaction. It speeds up the reaction, right? Okay, here comes the last part of the question. In the catalytic converter, carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide undergo a redox reaction. These reactions reduces the amount of carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide in a car exhaust. What is meant by the redox reaction? Redox reaction are basically reduction. They are basically reduction and oxidation reaction taking place. Oxidation reaction taking place simultaneously. Taking place simultaneously. Then coming explain how the redox reaction, the catalytic converter decreases the amount of, so here you will be writing down the equation that carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide dioxide, they combine to give you carbon dioxide and they give you nitrogen. So the harmful gases, right, which harmful gases, they combine together in the catalytic converter to give you the harmless gases. That is why this is an remedial method. Remedy to reduce the impact of, to reduce the acidic gases so that they do not lead to acid rain.